Most people in tech believe that to get paid the big bucks, you need 5 years of study, a stacked CV, and the degrees to match it. And for the longest time, I believed that too, until I got kicked out of school and I had to find alternatives. Luckily for me, I found one. In fact, I found a few. And I can tell you right now, there are tech jobs in crypto paying up to $350,000 a year for junior and senior engineers. And chances are, you're closer to landing one of these jobs than you realize. I know it sounds too good to be true, and trust me, I used to think the exact same thing until I landed one for myself, and I helped many people land them too. But if you stay till the end of this video, I'll break down 3 crypto jobs that are paying more than whatever you're doing right now, whether it's cybersecurity, software development, or whatever else, how much they pay, and how you can get started. And the last one on this list is by far the most lucrative, so you're gonna wanna stick around to hear what it is. First up, Zero Knowledge Developer, or ZK Developer for short. Now let me explain what this actually is in the simplest way possible. Imagine you wanna prove to someone that you're old enough to get into a club, without handing them over your entire ID, showing them your name, showing them your address, your exact birthday, all of it. That's basically what a ZK developer builds, except for crypto and money. They build systems that let you prove something is true, like that you have enough money to make a payment, without revealing any of the private details behind it. Now quickly, so the next bit makes sense. A blockchain is basically just a giant shared notebook that everyone can see, where every single transaction ever made gets written down. Nobody can erase it or cheat the numbers, but that's actually a good thing for trust, because nobody can lie about what happened. The problem is, since everyone can see this notebook, that also means that anyone can see how much money you sent, to who, which people have the most money, and these are things that most people don't want strangers knowing. And this is where ZK developers come in. They build ways to still write your transaction into that notebook so it's still safe and trusted, but without anyone actually being able to read the private details of what you did. So you get the trust of everyone seeing the notebook as legit, without giving up your privacy. Sometimes they'll also work on making that notebook faster to use too. Right now, a lot of these notebooks can only process transactions one at a time, which makes everything very slow, especially when millions of people are using it at once. ZK developers have found a way to bundle up thousands of these transactions, check they're all correct in one go, and add them to a notebook all at once instead of one by one, which massively speeds things up. The reason this pays so well is because it sits at the crossroads of the things crypto desperately needs: privacy, speed, and trust. And there are very few developers on Earth who actually understand how to build it properly. Most software developers have never even touched this kind of work, which is exactly why the ones who do get paid a premium for it. We're talking $201,000 to $263,000 in base salary alone before equity, which on a role like this can push your total pay even higher. Now, I know you might be thinking, yeah, but I know nothing about blockchain. I've got no crypto background. I've got no degree in this. How could I possibly land something like this and feel confident to develop something like that? Well, here's the thing. Nobody in crypto is checking your degree. There's no such thing as a crypto degree. I landed my role at Chainlink as a 21-year-old that had been kicked out of school twice. So what actually gets you hired is the proof that you can build the thing, not the piece of paper. And if you're already in tech, like cybersecurity or software development, whatever it is, you already have the foundation. You understand logic, you understand systems, you understand how to solve problems with code. That's most of the battle already won. The blockchain specific part is just what you learn on top of that. And it takes a lot less time than people first think. It's one of those things that seems difficult until you actually try it. And that's why there's not much competition. The reality is the crypto knowledge you learn on top can be learned in a matter of months with a good mentor. And this is exactly why I teach people how to do this inside the Crypto Accelerator. Take Corriday, for example. He joined me about a year ago, not knowing a single thing about crypto. And since then, he's already landed a job at Binance. Now, job number 2, smart contract engineer. Just to give you another quick analogy so you can understand this clearly, I want you to think of a vending machine. You put your money in, and the machine gives you your snack automatically. Nobody's standing there handing it to you. It's just been set up to do that on its own. That's basically what a smart contract is. Except instead of snacks, it could be money. It could be ownership of something like a piece of art or digital collectible. Or it could even be a ticket to an event. So say someone buys something for a smart contract, the second the payment goes through, the ticket is automatically theirs. A smart contract engineer is the person who writes that code, basically telling it, if this happens, then automatically do that. Now, here's why this one's the best option to go for if you're already a software or web developer, because you're not starting from zero here. You already know how to code, you already understand logic, you already know how to solve problems and build things. All you're doing is putting that exact same skill set somewhere that pays a lot more. Honestly, before I got into crypto, the thing I dreaded most was the idea of being stuck doing the same routine for years. And this is exactly the kind of role that fixes all of that. You use the exact same coding ability and problem solving brain, but now you're actually getting paid what you're worth. Smart contract engineers earn roughly between $151,000 a year up to $250,000. And I know that sounds like a fantasy figure because numbers like this get thrown around online all the time. But I want you to actually sit with that for a second, because that is the actual average. And on top of that, most of these roles are remote. So we're talking working from your bed, your kitchen table, another country if you like. Whatever you feel like doing, you'll have the money to be traveling to a different country, so working from the beach would be no problem. So picture that for a second, doubling, sometimes tripling your current income while working from wherever you want. It sounds like a dream, but this is exactly what happened to Korede, because he came to me as a computer science student with literally zero blockchain experience. But we got him working on a real project called PenguBot for Pudgy Penguins, which, by the way, is one of the biggest names in the entire crypto space. He worked on this to build out his portfolio so that when he applied to Binance, he was up against 70 other applicants. And out of all 70 of them, he was the only one who had real hands-on blockchain experience. He got hired within 2 months while he was still in university. He walked into a role most people spend years chasing and that pays more than what his professors are earning. And he's still there now. They've even extended his contract. Now, if you thought that job was crazy, let's get into tech role number 3. And this is the one that I told you to stick around for. Job number 3 is a smart contract auditor. And as always, I like to give you a quick analogy so you can actually picture this clearly. Remember earlier when I explained a smart contract? That self-running bit of code that automatically does something once certain conditions are met, whether that's releasing a payment or transferring ownership or handing over a ticket. Well, because these things are running real money and real ownership automatically, if there's even a small mistake in that code, someone can exploit it and drain everything. And there's usually no way to undo it once it's happened. So imagine someone's about to open a brand new bank. Before it opens its doors and starts holding people's money, you'd want someone to go through the entire building first, checking the vault, checking the locks, checking every way possible that someone could break in. That's basically what a smart contract auditor does. Except instead of a building, they're going through the code line by line before it goes live, looking for any weakness that someone could exploit. And here's why this role matters so much in crypto specifically. In normal tech, if your app has a bug, you patch it and you move on. No real harm done. But in crypto, once that code goes live, there's usually no going back. If there's a flaw, someone will find it, and once it's exploited, that money is gone forever. So yeah, the stakes are just on a completely different level, which is exactly why this role gets paid what it gets paid. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this. In 2025 alone, over $3.4 billion was stolen from crypto exploits. And on one single hack by Bybit, it accounted for $1.5 billion of that on its own. That's the exact gap that auditors are being paid to close. So let's talk numbers, because this is the one that's going to blow your mind a little bit. Junior auditors are starting anywhere from $50,000 to $80,000, which honestly, that's just the entry point. Senior and lead auditors are commanding anywhere from $200,000 to $350,000. And some of the top independent auditors are clearing over $500,000 a year. Sit with that a second. $500,000 doing something you could genuinely learn how to do in a few months. And on top of that, most of this work is remote. It's the same freedom, working from wherever you want, on top of one of the highest pay ceilings in the entire list. And here's what makes this role different from literally anything else on the list. And honestly, anything else in tech. You don't need a company to hire you first to prove yourself. There are public contest platforms, places like Code Arena and Sherlock, where auditors compete to find real vulnerabilities in real life projects. And if you find one, your name gets attached to it publicly. That single disclosed vulnerability becomes proof, permanent public proof that you can genuinely do this at a high level from anywhere in the world, regardless of where you studied or who you know. This is exactly what happened to Jordan. And honestly, his story still gets me a little bit, because he wasn't someone who spent years grinding this out. He came in, learned the specifics of this world, and landed the role in security on his very first Web3 interview. And now he's the one actually monitoring real attacks coming from North Korean hacking groups. The same kind of attacks behind the billions being stolen every year. Think about that for a second. This guy went from having 0 roles in the industry to being one of the people standing between billions of dollars and the people trying to steal it. So out of all 3 roles on this list, honestly, this is the one I tell you to look at first if security, problem solving, or finding what other people miss has ever come naturally to you. Because the demand for this specific skill set is not slowing down anytime soon. And neither is the money behind it. Watching this video isn't what changes anything for you. What changes things is actually taking the first step. And the good news is that that step doesn't cost you a thing. I've put together a free community where I break down exactly how people are getting into these roles, what to actually learn, what order to learn it in, and the real projects that get you noticed by companies like Binance. It's the exact same place Corriday and Jordan started before landing the roles I just told you about. You can ask questions, you can talk to me directly in there, and you can see for yourself what this whole path actually looks like before you commit to anything. So if any of these 3 roles sounded like something you could see yourself doing, the link to the free community is right below this video. Go join it, have a look around, and let's actually get you started. Because in 6 months, you're either going to be exactly where you are right now, or you're going to be exactly where Corriday and Jordan are. And that part is completely up to you.